everybody, this is Ellen Victoria of Victoria's Kitchen, and today we are going to learn how to make homemade flour tortillas, chalupa style, like the ones you get from Taco Bell. So we're going to make some organic chalupa soft tortillas, flour tortillas. Let's get started. So what you're going to want to do is, if you have this, you want to have use your mixing stand, and you're going to want to use your dough hook. This is what your dough hook looks like. It's very helpful. So you're going to attach your dough hook to your mixing stand. Got your mixing bowl going. And we're going to use organic, all-purpose, unbleached white flour, okay? And this is actually a good brand to use. I also like to use the Simple Truth organic all-purpose flour from Kroger. But the Red Mill all-purpose unbleached white organic flour is good as well. So we're going to need 3 cups of the organic all-purpose flour, and I'm going to show you a little trick for making sure you don't make much of a mess with your flour. You want to get a piece of parchment paper, or even if you have wax paper, lay that down where your measuring spoon is, and you can either scoop from your flour canister, or you can pour it straight from the bag. And if you pour straight from the bag, you want to make sure you fill that cup up. And the important thing with measuring out your flour is that you want to level it out. So a trick that you can do is to take a butter knife, flip it upside down, and use the back part and level off the flour cup. Okay? So we're going to do 1 cup. And then we have to do 3 cups. And this is the trick I was telling you about with the flour and the parchment paper or wax paper. Put that right in there. Nice clean ball there. It's going to be our 2nd cup. And remember, we're going to do 3 cups. You're just going to fill that cup up. Always fill your cup up, and you're going to level it off with the upside down butter knife. And once again, tonight we're making homemade flour tortillas, chalupa style. Alright, we got 1 more cup of flour to go. And I recommend using organic flour. So I'm just going to spoon this out here. Our last 1 cup. Okay. See that? Parchment paper or wax paper, if you have it, or even a paper towel, comes in handy when dealing with flour. And if you don't want to make that much of a mess, you just want an easy cleanup. Okay? So we are going to level that off by turning our butter knife upside down. This is our 3rd cup of all-purpose unbleached organic wheat flour. And watch this easy cleanup. I'm going to take that parchment paper trick that I showed you, and I'm just going to fold it inward, make a little funnel. The flour goes right in there. Alright, so that's another good little trick there. And the leftover flour in the bag, I'm actually just going to sprinkle that on my board because I'm going to need that later. Get every bit out of there that you can. Alright. Okay, so now we have our mixing bowl with our dough hook, our 3 cups of organic all-purpose unbleached flour. Now we are going to add our 1 teaspoon of table salt. You can come back over to that same little sheet that you have there. Flip your knife upside down, level that spoon out. 1 teaspoon of table salt. And you can pour that extra salt back in there with that little parchment paper trick. And then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now, when I use baking powder, I like to make sure I use the non-GMO, the non-genetically modified baking powder that's aluminum free. And this Rumford is actually a really good brand to use. Alright, so I'm going to get 1 teaspoon of that baking powder. And you can level that off with your knife, or if you don't have your butter knife, even with your finger, just go straight across. Alright, now, you can use your dough hook to mix this dry mixture, or you can use your whisk. Whichever one you use, you want to make sure that you mix the ingredients well. You want them to be well incorporated. So I'm going to come over here with my whisk. You can get a whisk from Dollar Tree for $1. And I'm just going to mix that together myself. Alright. Alright, so my dry ingredients are mixed well together. Now I have 1 cup of warm water. It should be warm to the touch and it's still warm. And then you're going to do 1/3 cup of oil. And I like to use organic canola oil. So 1/3 cup equals 3 tablespoons. So we're going to do 3 tablespoons of oil. Organic canola oil. That's 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to mix that together. And you want to make sure that the water is warm to touch. Okay? And it is warm to touch. So we're going to just pour that in. And this is where your dough hook is going to come in handy. You're going to lay down your dough hook. It's going to get a little loud. And put it on medium speed. And you're going to see that it's going to start incorporating the dough mixture. And I'm going to get a spatula. Because what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm helping it go along. So take a look in here. And I'm going to scrape the sides of the mixing bowl. Just to make sure that everything is being incorporated with the dough hook. And if you look at the bottom, some mixers have turntable styles. I want to get everything from the side and push it towards the middle to help the mixer out a little bit. Because I'm keeping it on the stand. I'm not doing it by hand. And you want to mix this together for about a minute, which is what we've done right now. We did it for about a minute. Then we're going to stop it. I'm just going to lift it up a little bit. And just get everything down to the middle because I want to make sure I scrape the bowl. You see all that extra flour, salt, and baking powder mixture that we got going on there? Now come get a close look here. You see how the dough is transforming that quickly? And once again, we're making the homemade tortillas chalupa style. So I'm going to continue to use my dough hook until it creates a nice looking dough for me to be able to handle. But I just wanted to scrape the sides. Always important, scrape the sides of the bowl within 1 minute of using your dough hook. So I'm going to turn that dough hook back on. Put it on medium speed for a while. You see that bowl is curling. I'm going to hold the bowl and slow it down, scrape the sides. Okay, now I'm going to switch it to a lower speed. And make sure you get up all of the dry mixture with the flour at the bottom to help it incorporate it. And you can see how the dough is already thickening up into a nice size and a nice consistency. And you can even hear the difference of how it's slowed up. That means the dough is almost ready. And you see how it's making it come into a dough ball a little bit. You see that? It's all starting to come away from the edges. Alright, so that looks done. So I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to clear off the dough from the dough hook. Just a little spiral that you clear it with. Okay? So this looks like it's about ready to roll out. So we're going to come over here to the board. And we're going to make sure we have a flour surface, which is what I did earlier. I took the extra flour from the bag that I had left over so that I can have a nice flour surface. I'm going to take my rings off. Nice clean hands. I'm going to take this dough, and it might be a little sticky, it might not be a little sticky. You just have to work with what you have. And come look at that. I'm going to turn that out on my nice floured surface. Okay. Now, I'm going to form this a little bit, just to get it to the good consistency that I want to give it to. I'm not going to necessarily knead it for a while. I'm just going to get it into a nice ball. A nice working consistency. And then I'm going to take my dough knife, and you can get about 16 to 20 tortillas with this one recipe, which I'll post later. So I'm going to take my dough knife. I'm going to cut it in half. Then I'm going to take those halves and cut those in half. Then I'm going to do the same for each one. Okay. And then I'm going to cut these in half. So I can have maybe about 16. Okay. Now what you're going to want to do is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Good. So now what I'm going to want to do is put a little flour on my surface, which I'm going to need to do. Now we're going to roll these into balls, and then we're going to push them flat with our palm, and we're going to let them rest on this cutting board for 15 minutes covered with a paper towel or a clean kitchen towel. So I'm going to make sure these are floured when I roll them out. So roll them into a ball, and then you're going to put it flat. Make sure it's floured, roll it into a ball, put it flat. Okay. Roll it into a ball, put it flat. That's all we're going to be doing is roll it into a ball, put it flat. We're going to do that for all 16 of these. Put it flat. Make sure you flour it, roll into the ball, put it flat. Flour, roll into the ball, put it flat. And you're just rolling it into the ball with your hands, going like this little motion. And you're putting it down and using the palm of your hand and flattening it out. And once again, we are making homemade tortillas, flour tortillas, chalupa style, which have a really good texture to them. I mean, it just like it's mouth-watering when you bite into them. And you don't have to worry about so much bad stuff being in it like you would if you were to get it from Taco Bell. So we're going to roll it like this, put it flat, roll it in flour, roll it with your hand into a ball, put it flat with the palm of your hand, and we got 2 more to go after this. And what we're going to do is we are going to let these rest for 15 minutes. Put it flat, okay? We're going to cover these with a paper towel and let that rest for 15 minutes. You don't have to wet the towel. You can use a clean kitchen towel if you want to as well. But we don't want them to, we want them to rest so they have like more elasticity to them, more for when we roll them out. But we don't want them to also crack. So we want to, or to get like a dry top. So we're going to cover these with the paper towel for 15 minutes. And while we do that, I'm going to wash my hands and we're going to work on our filling. So I decided to use some ground natural beef as a filling, which I already cooked up and seasoned. But I'm going to show you all how to also do it like a Chipotle style when you want to use the steak, or you can get the steak. So right now I'm going to turn my eye on high while my pan warms up, and I'm going to wash my hands. Now, I want you all to take a look at what we have over here for our filling. We have the boneless strip steak beef loin that we have from Wegmans. And there's about 4 in here. The Wegmans actually has good deals on that. And then, I'm going to make sure that I grab my organic canola oil. And I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, so I'll know when to go check on that. See, I'm on a medium high. I want a good sear on these. Now I'm just going to sear these. I'm going to open this up. Make sure you have a nice sharp knife. We got these in 2 packs here. I'm just going to do just 2 of them. While that pan is going. Okay. So I'm going to want to rinse this off with cold water. Always rinse your meats off with cold water. And look how beautiful those are. Cold water. I'll leave it right here. Okay. One at a time. Try to wash your hands. Put that in. Alright. That pan should get nice and hot. Turn it down a little bit. I'm going to put about maybe 2 to 3, maybe 2 tablespoons of organic canola oil in that pan. In here already heating up. And so we are just going to cut these in thick chunks like they have it at Chipotle. So we're going to start here. I just like thick chunks. Cutting that. And then we're going to cut those again into halves. And then I want you to take a look at the seasonings that we have over here. Of course, you can use any variety combination of seasonings that you like. For me, I will get the taco seasoning mix that's already prepackaged and made. Or you can use a little bit of the seasoning mixtures that they use in that separately yourself, like the garlic powder, the turmeric, the Cajun spices, the curry seasonings. Those also work as well. So these are good. I'm just going to throw these in here. I'm going to get this other one. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I'm going to top this one up. And of course, you're going to do this pre-made. I'm going to use a spatula so I can, or a spoon so I can just flip these over. And turn them down just a little bit. I'm just going to wash my hands. I want to make sure I get this in there too. Get a nice sear on these. And grab some from the cabinet. I'm going to wash my hands because I'm dealing with raw meat. Alright, let me get something to turn up here. Okay. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. Now I'm going to add some seasonings to that. So I'm going to use a little bit of a taco seasoning. Now, I already know what that's going to taste like. So I have this on a medium heat. The taco seasoning, and I'm going to put a little bit of ground black pepper in there as well, just because I already know what the taco seasoning tastes like. And a little bit of curry powder. Now I'm going to add a little bit of salt just because there's already some salt in the taco seasoning. Just a little bit of salt. You don't want too much sodium, but you need salt just to give it a little kick to bring out the extra flavor. And you can see how nicely that's searing up there. Now, I'm not going to cook this all the way through well done. Just want to get a nice sear on it and make sure it doesn't have a complete pink center. So just like a warm center. Kind of like you do when you get the one from Chipotle. And if these are too big of a chunks for you, you can just cut them up smaller before you put them in the pan, or you can let it rest for 10 minutes after you cook it and then slice them in smaller bins. And right now we are working on the steak for our homemade flour tortillas. And so we just had strip steak while we're letting our homemade tortillas rest for 15 minutes. And then we're going to fry them up in this little pan right here with some organic canola oil. And you want to make sure that your filling is done so that you can plate up and don't keep a lot of people waiting. And so we're going to have our two meat fillings. They're going to be the ground beef and then also this strip steak that we've sliced up and are browning on top of the stove with some taco seasoning and some black pepper and some salt with some curry powder. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of garlic powder in it as well. Just a little bit because there's already some garlic powder in that seasoning mixture that I already put in here. And just a tad bit of salt. That's because this already has salt in it. And we are coming up with the seasoning mixture and sauteing and browning our beef filling while our tortilla balls are resting for 15 minutes. We got about 9 more minutes to go with those to rest. So we're going to cook that up. You see how you get a nice hot pan. Before you put your meat in there, you want to let your meat sit out at room temperature for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes, not any longer than that. But you don't want to put a cold meat in a hot pan. That's just my preferability of it. I don't want to put a hot meat in a cold pan. I want to be a little room temperature. And you want to make sure your pan is nice and hot on a medium-high heat. Don't be afraid of the fire, but do be careful. And then you want to put some organic canola oil in your pan. And then get your meat ready. And when you fill your pan, and the way you can know if your pan is hot enough, you can take your hand, don't touch the pan, but take your hand, put it over the pan. And if you can't hold it for more than 5 seconds, that means that your pan is nice and ready and hot. But never touch the pan. But that'll let you know that it's nice and ready and hot. So I'm going to finish browning this maybe for like another 8 minutes or so, if that. I don't want to steam it. I want it to brown, so I want to make sure that I have it on a high heat, but not so much that it will burn. And once again, the type of steak that we are using comes from Wegmans. It's their strip steak. You can get the boneless strip steak. You can get it the family pack for $8.99 a pound if you get 4 or more strip steaks. Or you can get it, I think the regular price is $12.99 a pound if you want to buy just one at a time. But I recommend going with Wegmans because they have really good meats there in their meat department. And then they have really good deals, especially if you want to get family size portions. So I want to make sure that this isn't burning. I have it on a high heat. And this is the type of meat that I am talking about. Okay. Alright, so we got another 7 minutes on our tortillas. I'm just browning them up. And then also, while this meat is browning up, I want to give you another trick for when you're using your cutting boards. When you're using your cutting boards, you do not want them to slide. You don't want them to fly where you're cutting because it's very dangerous. So what you want to do is get a paper towel, turn on the cold water, squeeze it out, and you want to lay that down. Nice and flat. Make sure it's nice and even. Put your cutting board up there. See? The cutting board does not move. So that's another trick for when you're using your cutting boards, okay? You want to make sure you stay safe. You don't want to take any chances of possibly getting cut with a knife or slipping and sliding all over the place. Now, I want to show you something that's in the pan. Now, all of this at the bottom of this pan is called the fond. That is goodness. It's not burning. But that's what you're going to want to use. Like if you were ever to take this out and you want to make like a sauce from it or a gravy, that's the goodness that you want to keep in the pan. If you were making another type of dish, that's what you want to keep in the pan, that fond at the bottom. It starts to brown. Okay. So for me, you can also use your meat thermometer, but I'm just going to check the doneness of my strip steak by, come close, I'm going to show you, of touching and seeing how firm it is. Now that's about the firmness that I would like it to be. Some people like it firmer, they want it well done. Some people just want a warm center. Some people want it medium well. Some people want it rare. But that's about how I want it. So I'm going to turn off the eye and let those continue to go. I'm going to switch that over. Now, we're getting ready to fry up or brown, which I would say fry a little bit, our homemade tortillas. So, what you're going to want to do is you want to use a frying pan. You can use a larger frying pan if you want a burrito-style tortilla, like the ones at Chipotle, where you want to be able to wrap it up. But I'm doing like the smaller kind, and where I'm going to use this smaller frying pan because I only want mine to be a couple of inches wide and long. And then in between, you'll also find that these are homemade tortillas. It's kind of like a rough cut. Some are going to be perfect shape, some are not going to be perfect shape. But to me, that's the beauty of it all, is when you do it at home, it doesn't always have to be perfect. Because sometimes, you know, little kids may want smaller tortillas. It's up to you and how you want to make them. So we got about 4 minutes left. I'm going to set these seasonings to the side. Make sure you have your organic canola oil. Here at Victoria's Kitchen, we stay away from vegetable oil as much as possible because it has soy in it. Soy can be a little dangerous because it can create estrogen. So we don't want to use a lot of vegetable oil. I prefer to use organic canola oil. So I'm going to set that right there to the side. And you guys are going to follow me back to check on our tortillas. We got 3 minutes left to go. Follow back. Okay. Set that aside. So let's take a peek at our tortillas that we have here. They've been resting for about maybe 11 minutes. We got a few more minutes left on them. So what you're going to want to do is to get a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, go to Dollar Tree and get a rolling pin for $1. It'll be the rolling pin that's just this roll and not the handles, but that'll work perfectly, because honestly, when you're rolling out these homemade flour tortillas, you don't want to use the side roll handles. That's more for when you're doing like pies. You want to use this middle part. You can also get rolls like this from Walmart for like $4 or $5, and they last you a long time. And you're going to want your rolling pin, a clean surface, which is what I had used earlier to knead the dough a little bit, if you can say, just to knead it a little bit to form the ball, and flour. You want a clean flour surface. So I'm going to take some flour out already with clean hands. I'm going to put it on the side. And then I'm also going to try to flour my rolling pin, because with these homemade tortillas, they get a little sticky. If you say your rolling pin will stick to it. But that's fine, because you're also going to flour your tortillas. Okay? All right. And I also want to recommend that you all, when you're making your own doughs from scratch, that you get a dough knife. Dough knives are not that sharp, and they come with rulers at the bottom. I've worn mine out, so the ruler is kind of gone away, but it's really helpful. You can get these from Walmart, or you can get these from Dollar Tree for $1, and they last a long time. All right, so come on over. I think we got about maybe 2 minutes left on our tortillas. So what we did was we mixed 3 cups of organic all-purpose unbleached flour with 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of no aluminum non-GMO baking powder, and we mixed those together. And then we took 1 cup of warm water, warm to touch, just make sure when you touch it feels warm, and 1/3 cup of organic canola oil, or oil of your choice, and that converted to about 3 tablespoons of oil, because I use my tablespoon measurements for that. So now we're going to roll out our tortillas. So what I am going to do is I'm going to make sure I keep those paper towels that I have set aside. What you're going to want to do after you roll these out, you do not want to stack these on top of each other when they are a raw dough. Because when you stack raw dough tortillas on top of each other, they stick to each other and they can start to sweat and kind of get kind of mushy. You don't want them to sweat, okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to, you have to be creative with your space here. I have a floured surface. I'm going to take this 1 tortilla flat ball, put it in flour, on both sides. And then I'm going to take my rolling pin. You don't want to use the handles this time. I like using the actual rolling middle part. And you're going to roll it out to as big as you want. I would say maybe about 4 to 5 to even 6 inches. And see how nicely, that's a really nice dough. And the fact that we let it rest for 15 minutes gave it its like elasticity. It helped it. It made it easier for us to handle. I'm going to roll that out like that. Look how beautiful that is. You can turn it to the side as well. Oh, see, our timer just went off, so it is time to start rolling. And you'll see what I mean. There you go, see? So we're just going to roll it out like that. All right, and we're going to do that for each one of these, right? Yes, we are. Both sides dipped in flour. Roll it out with the middle part. And you see what I'm talking about when I say that it starts to stick to the rolling pin? So I'm going to put some more flour on my rolling pin. I'm going to turn it to the side and flip it over. Use the middle part of the roller. Remember what I said, these handles are usually used for when you're making pie crust. So we're going to just use that middle part because this is a different type of textured dough. And you see the texture on this dough is what gives the tortilla chalupa styles that perfect texture of not too chewy. You see my dough is sticking to my rolling pin again. So I'm going to take that rolling pin and just roll it in some flour. And I'm also going to take that dough and flip it over in some flour. And that's just the type of dough this is. And like I said, they don't have to be perfect circles. This is homemade style. You know, you do what you want to do. Alright? Remember, do not stack these raw doughs on top of each other. Do not pile them on top of each other. Alright. So I'm going to roll this again. Roll this in some flour. Use the middle part. Just roll it out. And if you see it sticking to your rolling pin, slab it on some more flour. Take the top part of the tortilla, flip it over on some flour, flip that bottom part on some flour, and you may just have to get more flour out. That's fine. You're working with a dough. And it feels so smooth and silky like. And that's when you know it's going to give you a good tortilla. It's a really good. This is a really good dough. I mean, look at that. Look at the elasticity in that. And it feels smooth. I mean, it's really smooth. And it's a little almost transparent a little bit. It's like got still an opaque like thickness to it, but it's still a thin, nice, silky dough. All right, I'm going to roll one more out, and then we're going to go and fry them. If I can say fry. Brown them. Maybe I should say we're going to brown them, because you don't want to, you know, soak it in oil unless you want to make some tortilla chips or some pita pocket type chips. That's what we'll do with that. But tonight we're going to make some flour tortillas chalupa style. And I like chalupas, like from Taco Bell. They have such a good texture to them. But it's better to make these at home yourself, because you know what you're putting in it. Alright, so we are going to take this, and this would be like one of our imperfect ones, we'll say. Let me put a little more flour on that. And we are going to go brown these up. Now, you want to be careful because these brown quickly. These will burn. You do not want these to burn. Now, you can separate these while they're raw, in their raw state, with a napkin. And those are going to be really handy. So we're going to come on down here. Just make sure I clean this space off. So we have some meat over there. I'm going to turn my eye on to a medium heat. Now this is where the tricky part can come in. You have to make sure you are paying attention. These will burn. You have to remember there's flour on these, and the flour can start to burn a little bit. And it depends on if you have an electric or a gas stove, how hot your pan is going to get. So you want to be a little careful. So you want to get that. I have a gas stove, which I love gas stoves. I love playing with that fire. I have it on about a 5 to heat up the pan. But eventually I'm going to have to start turning it down to about a 4 and a 3. But I'll wait till I get there. Pan's not hot yet. Remember I told you to determine that your pan is hot enough, you're going to want to do the 5-second rule. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. But put your hand right on top of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can feel that heat, okay? So then I'm going to put organic canola oil. Organic canola oil is what I like to use. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You gotta make sure, and you may say that's a lot of oil, but I'm just going to swirl it around the pan. Make sure it doesn't fall in the fire. Turn my eye up just a little bit. Alright, and we are going to need a spatula. So let me get a spatula out. Now I like to use the spatulas for the tortillas. The spatulas that do not have the ridges and the holes in them. And that way you can get a better grip of it, and it won't mold down into, like fall into the holes and kind of mess your tortilla up a little bit. Just move that away. Alright, so you're going to take that tortilla. My eyes up a little high. I can smell the oil warm up in the pan. Take that nice tortilla there. You're going to want to lay it down in there, like that. And look how quickly that's going to cook. Do not walk away from these if this is your first time. Even if it's not your first time, you want to be careful. You're going to brown this on the other side. Like when you go into the store, you see the packet of tortillas, and they like got these little bumps and ridges in it and brown spots. That's what you want to do for your tortillas. So I want to make sure my pan is up a little bit. I can see it browning on the edges, so my pan is up high. You see that? And you can start to smell it. So you're going to want to watch that. And see, that is just about done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to flip this over one more time. You see how that's brown? Some people like a little browner, some people don't. That's done. Okay? There's enough oil still in there. You got to watch it because that flour will burn. So put a little bit more oil in there. And you will use a certain amount of oil for this dish. We're going to come back over here and lift this up. Lay that down. You see how that's bubbling up? Now I may need to wash my pan and make sure it's not that hot. What I'm going to want to do is I'm going to take this paper towel and cover it because you want to be able to keep them soft and pileable, which means you want them to be able to still bend, right? So you see how it's starting to bubble up and pop. It's kind of like when you're making pancakes. That's letting me know it's okay to flip it. You see that? See how nice and brown that is? And we are making homemade tortillas chalupa style. And you see how nice and brown and bubbly that is. Look how fast that is. That's almost done. Put that over, and it gets really hot. It gets really hot. So my pan is extremely hot. And if you see that your flour, that's done, it starts piling up in your pan, you just pull it over the sink and just use your spatula and scrape that out. You're going to pick that tortilla up. This is a beautiful size right here. Lay it in that pan. And come take a look. See how that is over there? Nice and brown. Now take a look at how these have bubbled up. That's the way you want it. Just a nice homemade tortilla. Like I said, these are homemade tortillas. They don't have to be perfect. They do not have to be perfect. No, they don't. These are what you're making. And see, that's almost done. So I'm going to come on over. I got some more that I was making over here. I'm going to flip that over. Look how nice and brown that is. Now, what you can do in order to keep these tortillas warm, you can have your kitchen towel and cover them up, or just use a paper towel. You can also use a paper bag. See how quick it is? Now I'm going to turn my eye down because it's starting to heat up. Just a little bit. It's heating up even quicker. I'm going to turn it down to about a 4 or 3. You can even use a Ziploc bag, but the thing with the Ziploc bag is it's plastic, so you got to be careful with it and make sure your tortillas are not too hot. You can probably put 2 next to each other. And that pan is smoking. I'm going to put another one in there. And, I mean, how easy is that? Just homemade tortillas. Nice sizzle there. And you can smell how hot your pan is and smell the flour that's hitting it. And you see how you get those nice bubbles. See that bubble coming up there? Each tortilla carries its own characteristics. It's bubbling up just like a pancake would. And it's going to be browning. So we're going to peek at the bottom. You see how well that is? Yeah, we're going to flip it over. Alright. We're going to do 2 more of these. And then we're going to make our tacos. We're actually going to put our tacos together. Okay, that strip steak with that seasoning mixture and that curry powder is so good. A little oil. Turn my pan up a little bit. And here's like, for example, in a regular one that I made. You can make just cute little different shapes. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're at home. Okay, that steak is really good. Alright, so we got one more to go after this, and then we are going to actually put our tortillas, chalupa tacos, if you want to call them, together. And while that's finishing up, see, that's almost ready to flip immediately. So look at that. You buy these in the store, there's no need to. We can make them at home, organic style, free from all that crazy stuff that's going to make people sick. You can make them thicker if you want, but these have a nice thickness to them. And look how bendable they are. But you got to keep them covered in order to help them keep their softness. Now I'm going to turn my eye down because it's up just a little high. You can tell by all of the smoke that you have coming from it. And we got one more to go. A little bit of oil. Turn that eye down. This is the last one. Look how beautiful that is. That's like perfect. Get that going in there. Be careful. It cooks fast and you can burn yourself, so you want to be careful. So let's get a closer look at that. Alright, so that's almost ready to flip. And I am going to get our beef strip steak together that we have going. Alright, so this is almost ready to flip. Just a little bit. Let's take a peek at it. You can see that it's bubbling up. See the bubbles? You see how it's brown under? That's what you want. You want it to look like an actual, like the tortillas that you see in the store. You see that? It's beautiful. So while that's finishing up, I'm going to turn that eye off because that's going to finish. I'm going to take our beautiful strip steak that we have here with the beautiful fond at the bottom that I told you. That's goodness right there. All the juices. It's already been resting for about 10 minutes. You want to make sure that it rests. Now, I want us to take a look at this. Let me get this last tortilla up here. Look at that. That was brown. That's beautiful, right? All right, we're going to cover that. Let's bring this over here first. Keep them covered. It makes them soft and pileable, which means that they'll continue to have a nice consistency to them. All right. Get a nice clean knife, and look at that steak there. And I'm going to cut that steak to let you know and let you see what I was talking about when I was talking about the consistency that you want with your steak. I don't like mine raw, but I don't like mine all the way through well done. Because you still want it to have that juiciness to it. Remember that trick I showed you to make sure that you don't have a cutting board that slips. A cold, wet paper towel and put it on top of your cutting board. You see? On top of that cutting board. So let's take, just look how beautiful that is. Let's take one and we can slice it open. You see how it still has just a tad, just a little bit of pink in the middle? Just a little bit. Not too bad, right? But it's really good. Like the one at Chipotle. So, if you want them sliced thinner for your taco, you can do that. Alright, so now we are going to go plate up. Really good. Alright. Put that back in there. Here we go. We clear up this surface over here. All of our flour we got everywhere. And let's plate up some tacos. Some Chalupa style tacos. Let me grab this plate over here real quick. Alright. So these still might be a little warm because we just took them off the stove. For my toppings, I have the homemade salsa that I showed you guys how to make in the salsa video. It smells, it smells so good. And I put a little extra lime in this and a little extra cilantro and let it stay in the refrigerator for about, I made it yesterday. So let's uncover our homemade tortillas. Look how beautiful they are. They smell so good, nice and toasted. So what I'm going to do is, and I also have some ground beef. So you can make some ground beef ones. Some shredded cheese, some sour cream, and some organic spring leaf mix, salad mix. So what we're going to do is, let's do these ones first. We're going to take some of the strip steaks, throw that in there. And these are so good. Oh my gosh. It's like a big one. Yeah, it's on it. Pretty good. Put that in there. It's good. Take some organic spring leaves. Put that in there. Good. Take some homemade salsa. Put that on there. Look how pretty that is. It's going to be so good. You can even leave them open, like a flat surface. Take some cheese if you want. Sprinkle that on. And a dollop of daisy. Some sour cream. Look how pretty that is. It's so good. Okay. You can leave it like that. And let's do a ground beef one. Take some of that ground beef. Some organic spring leaf salad mix. Some homemade salsa. Some shredded cheese. Some sour cream. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's do another one. Look how beautiful that is. Nice toastiness to it. These are the really big chunks. And remember, I said you can cut these if you want. They're so good. Really good. Mmm. That's good. I really like the purple leaves. A lot of my family members don't like the purple leaves. But I like them. They taste good. They look pretty. Leaves. Salad mixture. Some organic salsa. Right on top. A little bit of shredded cheese. Sour cream. Let's do one more beef. Shredded beef. Look how nice it is. You see that? It smells so good. Some ground beef. And it's even nice, a nice presentation to leave them face open. Just leave them face up. I mean, look how beautiful that is. You don't even have to cut the leaves. You can just fold them apart. The organic spring leaves. Some salsa. Homemade salsa. Watch the YouTube video to get that recipe. It's delicious. It's the bomb. With some shredded cheese. Some sour cream. And you know what else I like to use on my tacos? Cream cheese. If you don't have sour cream and you just feel like you need to have something else up there, you grab another piece of steak because it's really good. Cream cheese is really good. Now, you can also dice up some jalapenos and put them on there, but I don't see any need to do that because in the homemade salsa that I have, and you can watch the tutorial on our Victoria's Kitchen LLC YouTube page, channel, it's already jalapenos, diced jalapenos in there, so we don't want to overpower it. So what we have here are our beautiful homemade flour tortillas, chalupa style, with our strips, boneless strip steak that we did a seasoning mixture for and seared it on the stove, browned it up, cooked it for maybe 6 to 8 minutes or so, just because I don't like it all the way well done. It's just like a little pink in the middle, make it warmer. Topped it with some homemade salsa, some organic mixed spring leaf, some shredded cheese, and some sour cream. So let's dig in. I'm going to dig into the steak one. That looks really good. That's good. The homemade salsa on it. And the texture. Let me take a look. The texture of this homemade flour tortilla is excellent. I mean, I can't describe to you how much it melts in my mouth. And it's not rough. It's the perfect texture. And with that sour cream and that homemade salsa on it. I am happy. And the great thing about these tortillas is that you can freeze them. You can leave these out on the counter, room temperature, in a Ziploc bag for like a week. You can keep them in your freezer for like indefinitely. I mean, they freeze well. Keep them on your counter in a Ziploc bag for a week at room temperature. We're going to make sure that you put some parchment paper or some wax paper in between each tortilla, just to keep them nice and soft and palatable. And then when you go to reheat them, you can let them deep thaw on the counter, but when you go to reheat them, you don't want to just throw them in the oven or throw them in the microwave, and I don't even like the microwave. Let me start on that. But if you do use the microwave, you want to steam them. So you put a little water at the bottom of your bowl and put the tortillas on top of that, on top of like a plate or something. And then you want to warm them up that way so that it steams them. You want to do the same thing in the oven. Take a little baking dish, put some water at the bottom, and then put another dish on top, and put it on like maybe 325 and do a slow reheat to steam them. Or you can put them on the stove and steam them that way. Like this. Sit on the counter for a week. put them in the freezer indefinitely. Just make sure you put parchment paper or wax paper in between. Alright, this has been another cooking tutorial from Ellen Victoria of Victoria's Kitchen. Today we did homemade tortillas, chalupa style. We did our ground our own boneless strip steaks. And we got our homemade salsa that we have in one of our cooking tutorial videos with our shredded cheese, sour cream, organic spring leaf mixture. I hope you enjoyed it. These are delicious and beautiful, even if you want to leave them face open as a presentation. Log back into our YouTube channel, Victoria's Kitchen LLC. Victoria's Kitchen LLC. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Comment on the recipe tutorials. Let us know what you like. Comment on some recipes that you'd like to see me prepare, whether it's cooking or baking. I do a variety of everything here at the kitchen. We are a cooking school, so our mission is to teach all ages the fundamentals of cooking in the kitchen and to make it fun and exciting, and of course to make sure that all of your food tastes delicious. So I'll check you guys out later. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.